Hi there and welcome. In this video I'm going to talk about this Raga Kirtan Premium Harmonium, which I received from kirtanyogaworld.com. So what I'm going to cover in this video is I'm going to talk about the sustain. I'm going to talk about the bellows. I'm going to talk about all the little issues that a harmonium might have, like cracking sound, sticking keys, buzzing reeds. I will talk about the transportability, the tuning, and the looks and the appearance of the harmonium. Just a quick word about myself. So I'm the founder of harmoniumevolution.com. So it's a course where you will learn everything about the harmonium from zero till advanced player. It covers everything in great detail. It comes with personal support, Q&A calls. There is also a community of people worldwide playing the harmonium, learning the harmonium, singing mantras, bhajans, kirtans. So this is an amazing place, an amazing platform on school where people get in touch with each other. They can share insights, share knowledge, share songs, chords, lyrics, get help from the community, and also get help from us, the teachers, directly. We have the Harmonium Evolution complete course. You also have the Vocal Evolution course where you will learn all about singing, developing your voice, projecting your voice, avoiding wrong use of voice. And particularly when singing mantras, bhajans, it's all about finding some inner balance, really, because it's not only about the physical techniques, but your voice is really connected to your inner being. So it's really important to develop your inner state and develop strength and balance. And this will have a very big influence on your voice. And this is very important to know. So you can find more information by clicking the link here or in the comments below. So let's move on with this video. So kirtanyogaworld.com was so kind to send me this Raga Kirtan Premium Harmonium. So this brand of harmoniums called Raga are produced by Kirtan Yoga World in India. So how it works is the guy, Shidara, who is an Italian guy, lives in India and has very close contact to the factory. So they work together and follow up very closely. So then they ship the harmoniums to Italy, where they are set up right, tuned, and they go through everything, check everything, and get everything ready for the customer. After they have set up everything perfectly in Italy, they will then ship the instrument from Italy to the customer, being it in Europe, but it can also be to USA, Canada, or any other country worldwide. So we can talk about shipping later on. There is another unboxing video where I show how the harmonium was shipped and how it was packed. So that's another video which you can watch here. Let's dive right in and talk about this beautiful harmonium. So this particular harmonium is a Deli style harmonium. So there's a big difference between Deli style harmoniums and Calcutta style harmoniums, which I will cover in another video. What are the differences and what is the difference in sound? How does it play different? How is it different in construction? But this one is a Deli style. So Deli style harmonium always comes with a coupler. And this particular coupler has octaves high. So, there are two ways. You can have low octaves or high octaves. This one has high octaves. So when I press a key, the high octave will also join, right? But I can also, of course, take off the coupler and I only have one note playing, right? But I usually prefer to play with a coupler. It gives more richness to the sound. This system of the coupling the octaves is built underneath the keys. So that's why the keys of a Deli style harmonium usually are a little bit higher. And they play a little bit heavier, you can say, than compared to a Calcutta model. So it's only when you play advanced music, very melodic, very fast notes, a lot of embellishments, that you might find it a little bit too slow because it's a little bit heavy. But for most people, a Deli style is great. You know, it sounds very beautiful. It's also way cheaper usually than a Calcutta model. A Calcutta model usually is a more high-end harmonium. It has a scale changer, way more expensive usually. And I think a Deli style harmonium is great for people starting out with a harmonium. For most people singing bhajans, kirtans, mantras, this is great harmonium. I wouldn't really advise, you know, to have a scale changer because prices can be double or triple as expensive as Deli style harmonium. And as long as you're not playing very fast music and you're accompanying yourself with chords, melodies, this Deli style harmonium is great. So this harmonium was in perfect condition when it was shipped from Italy. Now, when it arrived at my place, and I live in Belgium, there were two issues. And this is very interesting to talk about because it can always happen that when shipping an harmonium or even transporting a harmonium, little things can happen, you know, like any other instrument. You know, you have a guitar, sometimes a string can break, so you need to repair the string. And a guitar player needs to know how to repair a string. So if you play the harmonium, you need to know a few things. You need to repair little issues. We don't really call them issues because it's very normal. So in case a harmonium has been shipped to your place and there are a little things, you need to know what to do. So, but you shouldn't panic right away. So it's usually not difficult at all to fix these little issues. So in this particular harmonium, there are two things, and it's actually very common. A key sticking, this one. Right, so when I play this key, it doesn't close completely. So something is wrong and it's sticking the key. So we call it a sticky key, right? So that we are going to fix this. Now, another thing is this note is buzzing. So it sounds like a bagpipe. So that's not what we want. So we will also fix this. So then after when I fix this little two things, which is very interesting for you to know how to do this because it can always happen in your situation as well. Then we are going to talk about, you know, other things about this harmonium and the pro and cons of this particular harmonium and about the Raga brand harmonium, which is produced by KirtanYogaWorld.com. So let's handle the sticking key first. So we first going to take a screwdriver and we are going to take off a few screws. This screw, this one, this one, this one, and also here in the back. So we have these little pins which go in these little holes here. You better keep the screws together so you'll not get confused later. So there are also these wooden side parts which you have to also remove by taking off these screws. So you better keep this right part at the right side of your harmonium and the left part at the left side of your harmonium, so you can never get confused. All right, so we have a sticking key. Let's see. All right, so I don't play this key, but it's still making a sound. So most probably it's due because there is friction. There is friction somewhere, or there can be dust underneath this key, so the opening doesn't fully close, you know, so that can be. Now you can take off this spring by removing it like this, and you can take off the key. So you can check for dust. I can also see here now there is a little bit of wood, a piece of wood which is in the way. So let me take off this wood and clean it a bit. And let us try to put it back. So it's fixed. There was a little bit of wood, a bit of dust at the bottom of this key here. So removed it, done. You can always check also the wood itself here, but it's all fine. So let's put it back, and you put the spring back. That's fixed. Second, we have this key. So there is a buzzing reed in this key, right? So therefore we need to open this harmonium. We need to take off this screw here and here. Now we are able to open harmonium. You see the hinges here in front. That's why also we have to remove this front plate. Now we can just open it. Now we can access the reeds and have a look there. First of all, we need to know this key is a F-sharp key. So then we have to find the corresponding reeds. So now we have two sets of reeds. And we have F-sharp here and the F-sharp there. A buzzing reed we can usually fix by filing off the sides of the reed. So there can be a little bit of metal, which very small, but it can vibrate, it blocks a little bit. So then we can usually fix the buzzing reed by filing off the sides of the reed. Not everything, but just check if there is a bit of an edge, which is a bit rough. And if you file it there, usually the reed is back normal. So let's have a look. So we should take a little file like this. We have to search for the right key, which is F-sharp in this case. And when you press the reed a little bit and you move it a bit, then you shouldn't hear anything. It should be free. But when it's buzzing, it's usually because it's not free. There is some kind of edge which is sticking out a little bit, and it's blocking the free movement of the reed. That's why it's producing a funny tone. So first thing you can try is move. So you take a screwdriver and very gently you're going to press the reed and move it a bit, but gently. So you want to press it so it goes inwards and outwards a little bit, and move, and listen very closely if you can hear some funny, some ticking sound. All right, so then we check. It's fixed already. That's great. So just by pressing it a few times, it's done. So it wasn't actually a big thing, but sometimes you might need a file and go on the edge of the reed and make it a bit clean. So it could be sometimes a little bit of metal parts which are, you know, on the sides of the reed, which are kind of blocking the free movement of the reed. So we want to check the sides of the reeds if they are clean, if there is nothing sticking out, why it's kind of, and we can check that by pressing the reed in and out, and we can hear for a little ticking sound, but it's fixed, right? So done. So now we tighten all the screws back to its place. These screws can be very tight. It's important that they are tight. These screws shouldn't be too tight. Otherwise you're, you know, pressing it too much to the keys and then you get friction here. So they should just be tight, and that's enough. All right. All right, that's done. We fixed the sticking key and we fixed the buzzing reed. So now you know what to do when you have the same situation. All right, so let's talk about this harmonium. First of all, one of the most important things I find in harmonium is the sustain. So let's check the sustain. So how do you do that? It's actually very simple. You take a chord. I prefer to take a chord somewhere in the middle section of your keyboard. And then you will start pumping until you get a decent amount of sound. Then you stop pumping and then you count the amount of seconds the sound still continues. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 6 seconds. That's very good. It's super good. There are a lot of harmoniums, trust me, which you can buy online, which have very poor sustain. I know from students who purchased harmoniums online, they didn't really know what they were buying. Way overpriced. And it has a sustain of maybe 2 seconds, but barely 2, maybe 1. And seriously, this is unplayable. So when you have an harmonium which has this short amount of sustain, it's very difficult to play the harmonium beautifully. So 6 seconds, that is seriously amazing. Especially because this harmonium is a suitcase model. So it's a foldable model. It's not a one-piece model. And usually I prefer a one-piece model. But actually, in this harmonium, you can't hear any difference between a one-piece model or a suitcase model. So that's great. The advantage of a suitcase model is that you can fold it. So that brings us with the next thing, transportability. Let me show you how you can easily transport this harmonium. So first we are going to close our bellows by pressing keys. You should never press the bellows, give air without pressing any key. So we close it, we wait for the air to escape. Then we close the stops, push them inside, and we lower the harmonium like this, gently. Then we take our cover, and we have the harmonium in a suitcase. Now, this harmonium also came with this beautiful bag. Reinforcement rubber things on the bottom, and it has beautiful leather corners which give extra protection. So it's actually a very thick bag. It's very insulated. So this is the way how the harmonium has been delivered with the bag inside the box. So this is like to transport this, very, very protective. It looks professional. It's beautiful, right? So this is great. So to open, we open the front locks. We take off the cover, and we raise the harmonium till it clicks from both sides. Click, click, and then we open the stops, and we're ready to play. I can play a little bit. Now we can also take it off, much sharper. different possibilities in sound, which is really nice. Closing the lid, opening it, or taking it off. You can also put it a bit halfway like this. And it definitely makes difference. So that's great. Now, I find personally the sound of this harmonium, you know, from all the Deli models I have ever played, I've been playing on like hundreds of different harmoniums. And I must say, this harmonium sounds very beautiful. It sounds very warm, rich, deep. It doesn't sound cheap. It plays very nicely. It's a very good harmonium. So this Raga Harmonium must be one of the very best Deli style harmoniums I ever played on. Very beautiful tone. So I'm very happy with this one. All right, so another thing we should check is the cracking sound of the bellows. Nothing, no cracking sound, so that's amazing. You know, I've played on many different harmoniums, and I had a harmonium for a long time, a Bina harmonium, and it had a cracking sound in the bellows. Every time I pumped the bellows, it made a cracking sound, and I thought after a while it would disappear, but it never went away. Even after 15 years, still the cracking sound is there. So, you know, I was very disappointed. But here there's nothing, so it plays very smooth, very silent, amazing. Another thing we could check is the clicking sound of the keys. There is always some sound of keys, you know, that's normal. But it shouldn't be too obvious or too sharp. See now, when I play this, it's great. Very silent keys. The keys don't make a very sharp clicking sound. So that's great. I've been playing on harmoniums which have very sharp clicking sounds, and I actually had to put little damping material to reduce the clicking sound, actually. So, but in this case, it's very soft. And, you know, when you play, the clicking sound will almost disappear. So almost no clicking sound. Great. So about the tuning, of course, you can always tune your harmonium yourself. But when you get a new harmonium, you want preferably the harmonium to be tuned already, so you can play it right away and you have a nice experience. So the way you can check for tuning is play a chord and play the chord in all different inversions along the keyboard, and then you can listen to the tuning. It sounds very good. I mean, it doesn't sound like perfect, but I never had any harmonium which sounds like perfect. So it's not about perfectionism. A harmonium can be a little bit slightly out of tune and still sounds very nice. So this in this case, I would say it's like 95% in order. Some chords are a little bit out of tune, but very slightly, but most chords are great. So that's the best way you can check for tuning. Play a lot of chords. It's not about playing one or two chords or checking the notes separately, because it's difficult to hear tuning. So you need to check with chords, then you can hear the balance of the tuning and the chords. Overall, tuning is great. So I didn't tune this harmonium when I got it. It's just how I received it from shipping directly. And I must say, even after shipping, tuning stayed good, and I'm happy with the tuning. So let's see the frequency of A4. So when we play A, It's perfect on 440. So I love the golden color of this bellows. I think it's very beautiful. I also love the matte finish of this harmonium. The color, the wooden natural color. I think it's a very nice logo as well. Raga. So this harmonium is 595 euros, which I think is a great price for this kind of harmonium. I've seen harmoniums for the same price which were crap, like really toys, even not a toy. It's just like rubbish. Very bad sustain, very bad sound, very dull and cheap sound. So for the same price, you know, but this one comes in a beautiful bag, beautiful case. It looks beautiful and it plays very nice and it has a great sound, great sustain. It will be very difficult to find a better harmonium for this price. You have to see about shipping. It depends on your location. So if you click the below link or the link here, it will calculate your shipping costs, because I cannot really tell how much the shipping costs will be. It's depending on your area and location. Kirtan Yoga World ships worldwide. So whether you live in USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, you will get the harmonium delivered at your place. To conclude this video, it looks nice, plays nice, has a great sustain of 6 seconds, which is amazing. It plays very nice, no clicking sounds, no crackling sounds of the bellows. We had a hanging key, but that was easily fixed because there was a little piece of wood which I could remove very easily. And we had a buzzing reed, which was fixed by only pressing the reed gently a few times, and it was already gone. So very quick and easy fixes, and it's very normal, as I said before. And you should be able to, you know, maintain your harmonium as well, because you can always have these little issues. But also when receiving a harmonium, you can have little issues like that, and you can fix it yourself easily. So this harmonium, Raga Kirtan Premium, sounds very nice, plays very nice, has a beautiful tone, very warm, rich. So they have this Raga Kirtan harmoniums. This is a Raga Kirtan Premium, but they also have a Raga Kirtan Mini and a few other types, which are similar build, similar quality, similar idea, but only a different amount of keys. And therefore also the harmonium is a bit smaller, so the price is also smaller. All right. Also the harmonium is not very heavy, which is great. You can fold it nicely. It comes with a nice bag, nice case. It's sold on kirtanyogaworld.com. You can buy it with the link below. So you can also click the link here, where you can also purchase this harmonium. I would strongly advise not just buy any random harmonium on Amazon or on Thomann or, you know, whatever. Like, you don't know what you're buying. I would never advise you to buy crap or to buy any harmonium. I can honestly tell you this harmonium is very nice. I would strongly advise you to go with Raga Harmoniums. I can tell there is a lot of craftsmanship in this harmonium, and also the people from Kirtan Yoga World who are selling this harmonium have a great passion for their instruments and for their craftsmanship, and also you know, they want the best quality for their customers, so they care greatly. I had a very good contact with the owner of Kirtan Yoga World, which is a very, very nice guy, and he was so kind to, you know, send me this harmonium so I could try it out. But I just fell in love with it. It's great. It's amazing. So thank you for joining me in this video. I hope you liked it and you learned a few things. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Bye.